we dive into the working of oneself, a shaman as your guide, a light worker at my side. We'll reach the depths of your journey, don't worry. Grounding is the game, as being a Taurus is my fame. The other side, my wife D will rep the words as an Aries, with hand of Pisces on the clef as we navigate together the minds of space and time and everything in between. Take a journey inside as we spit these rhymes, coming out live to y'all on the podcast 9. Yeah, you know how we do. Rec 1 coming out with the illest tunes. Hey everybody, welcome to our second podcast of the Journey Inside. We are Anthony and DJ, and today, or what we're going to talk about, unconditional love.
Yes, what it means to us individually.
Absolutely. So, how about you go ahead and start off on what you think or how you feel unconditional love is?
For myself, unconditional love to me is that we first start with ourselves, unconditionally loving ourselves with no judgment, with no conditions, meaning like not comparing yourself with others. Just, it's almost like having like a joy for yourself and love for yourself, and that when we bring that to ourselves, that we're able to love people unconditionally without any judgment or any type of like people, like for example, if they get angry or frustrated, we don't see those things as a negative or anything. We just look past that and give those people love that need it. And I feel like that is another, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more, but if you want to go first, maybe we could just go back and forth and talk about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think in general, unconditional love is, it's a interesting feeling and subject, because we all tend to have certain levels of judgment towards others, and having unconditional love is putting aside judgment, being able to see God in everything, in all things. Yeah. Is what I think, or how I feel about it. You know, when we, I guess the easiest way or the quickest way to explain it is just, well, two things. You know, we can see a baby for the first time, and especially if it's your own, you just feel this enormous amount of love. And there's no judgment. You're not even worried about how it looks. You're just so grateful.
Some people actually are.
But realistically, nobody, if it's your baby, you don't really care what it looks like, because it's something that you've created. And there's a special bond between you and that creation. What I was saying is that there are no judgments, right? Because at least that's how I feel. There are no judgments towards it, because you're just so grateful that it's breathing. Especially the first moment you hear a baby's cry, you know, your own baby's cry. It's just an overwhelming amount of love. And that's one way where how I'd explain unconditional love to anybody who are parents out there who've experienced that. Another great way that I always love to use as a metaphor is the balance between the sun and the moon. You know, as shamans, we believe that all things have a perfect balance in this world, and we see all things as living beings. So the sun and the moon are living energy, and so the sun, you know, doesn't judge the moon's energy. They have this perfect balance where they work in tune together to continue to bring light and to bring night. And all things live unconditionally together, because when the moon rises, you know, the night animals come out and the day animals sleep. And because of that, it's this perfect balance, this perfect unconditional love that they have with one another. Um, I mean, that's kind of what I think. What do you think?
About the balance of the moon and the sun?
Yeah, as a metaphor for unconditional love.
Yeah, I could see it that way. Just because in our world, there's, stuff that happens that are bad, and there's also things that are good. And I think as we live on Earth, I feel that there's always going to be like you said, a balance where it's like how I see, this is a perspective, but it's like, how are we supposed to know what pain is if we didn't go through it, or if someone, let's just say, like, there has been, where women, they disown, or how do you say, disown, or their baby, like they give it up, or they just leave it and stuff like that. And there's this, there's also there's diseases, there's everything.
Well, and on that point, sorry to interrupt you, but that's also actually an important point. When people do give up their own child or something in the beginning of birth, a big part of that, what I truly feel, is that they're not loving themselves unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
So how can they love something else unconditionally? And that's where it starts. I believe 100% that's where it starts, is having unconditional love for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean, to have unconditional love for yourself?
If we didn't have those things on Earth to show us what is, I mean, I don't like saying good or bad, but to see, like, what we can do to help others, and
To serve.
Yeah, to serve. And because, like I said, we wouldn't understand pain or what is bad or good if we didn't have those people to learn from, or even ourselves to learn from, because I'm not perfect. So I definitely, in my past life, I've definitely had some traumas that I had to learn to love for myself, that I wasn't given love in those areas. And I think that's a lot of us that I'm not blaming or anything, but I feel that from like ancestors to like parents and stuff, it's always been like a cycle. Sometimes maybe the cycle's ended depending on the person who's willing to step out of the box and be like, I don't want this. I want to love myself. I want to continue loving myself so that I can love others and enjoy life. But like I said, is what areas our parents didn't teach us, and it's not their fault. This is why I came. It's not their fault. It's just they weren't taught that either, where to love themselves.
Which perpetuates the cycle.
Yes.
Into
Thank you for
everybody else, going forward.
Yeah.
Until somebody comes along the lines and breaks that cycle.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for helping me explain that point. But yeah, so it's like, I don't know, let's say that your parent wasn't patient with you, okay? And so obviously you're going to probably be impatient. You were in that environment. But as we get older, we're responsible for ourselves and accountable, not to feel sorry, because we'll stay in that cycle, but it's to love ourselves in that area and teach ourselves. And there's definitely people we could learn from that have given love in that area. And that's why I mean unconditional love, because, like, it's not about judging people, because we could be like, that person probably wasn't shown that, and I could give love to that person, like.
Yeah, you can hold the space of love.
Yes.
Towards other individuals.
Yeah.
And that's definitely huge for part of being in a transition, or people that are going in through transition, right? Because, so share your dream that you had the other night, which I thought was, really cool. And it's a good way to see it, right? There's people, so DJ had this dream where she saw some people with halos and others without. To me, like, as we mentioned in our last podcast, how we like to interpret dreams, to me, what I felt like is that there are people in this world that have gone through certain things, that have came to a point to where they have a certain level of unconditional love or full unconditional love for others, or they're holding light, like light workers, like DJ's a light worker. Other people that aren't as high in energy, And when I say high in energy, I never talk about anybody's better than anybody else. There's zero pride in having unconditional love. There's no ego in that sense. You know, it's a different type of ego, which we can talk about on another podcast. But we there's all these people that come in this world that we kind of, our spirit navigates us towards. And as individuals who are light workers, empaths, shamans, or any type of spiritual healing, and no pressure, but you kind of need to be prepared.
Yeah, responsible. That was like a hard thing for me.
Absolutely. Like, it's tough for me too, but
great power comes with great responsibility.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
So, but yeah, it's so to be prepared for that, you have to be able to love others unconditionally. Because what if somebody comes up to you, you just write out the judgment, you look at them, and they seem to look a little different or weird. Well, there's a reason why your spirit is putting you in that path or that direction. Whether you're supposed to talk to that person or not, or whether you're supposed to just be in that person's presence. And when I say being in that person's presence, it's just fully observing your surroundings and your entire situation. And how we do that is having unconditional love for those individuals. Because just by walking by, our energy can connect with that person that we pass. Whether we smile, whether we just glance at them, or if we just say hello or good morning, but we truly mean it. And that's the thing, is being sincere with the words in which we say, being present with the words that we say, or the feelings that we feel. And if it's a feeling that's not in a space of unconditional love, then it's time to look at yourself in the mirror and double check into what in that area, especially in that situation, are you not loving yourself fully?
What are areas that you had hard time unconditionally loving yourself and others that you feel like you're doing better at now?
Yeah, that's a good question. The area that I wasn't loving myself unconditionally. I'm very judgmental on myself. And when I say that, it's that I always feel like I need to be better than what I am, and not realizing what I currently have. You know, I think it comes with, it's a gratitude thing, always wanting more, you know. And I've gotten better in that area because I used to be very much in a materialistic mindset where it's like, gosh, I have to have the latest TV, gotta have the latest phone, you know.
So because of that, did it make you like ego? Like,
definitely made me more ego.
So kind of hiring yourself to other people, because if, like, it's almost like
it's a false ego that I had for a while, because I wanted to be somewhere that I wasn't. You know, it's a whole fake it to make it move that you kind of hear. You know, growing up in California, that you hear it all the time. Fake it till you make it. You hear it all over the world. Where we grew up in California, everything was very fast paced, and so my mindset was always like, and not just that, I lived amongst people who were definitely inspirational in my life. The problem is I wasn't observing, I was imitating. And so I would imitate before I observed, which wouldn't lay a platform for me to be 100% sincere.
Did you ever sorry, it's kind of the same question, but did you ever feel like inferior of other people who were doing better than you because you felt like a lack of...
Absolutely, because that's an insecurity. Mm-hmm. So I had an insecurity in myself that I wasn't enough.
I think there's times where, like, if I was doing better, you'd be like jealous, right? Wasn't like a while ago I remember I was doing something and you're just like...
Well, it's not that so it's not that I'm jealous. It is an insecurity, but it's not a jealousy. Because I've never really been a jealous person.
Yeah, he actually isn't a really jealous person. He's
but
really small.
Yeah, but
I'm more of the jealous person.
I guess it's not in the not so much of an envy, but it's more of like, I kind of go into the thing where I'm not grateful for who I am, and I want to be something else or something more. So when somebody would do great, I felt good for them and happy for them, but at the same time, it was like, that's what I want to do too. I want to be something great. And a big part of it is because I think it was that I was always a very spotlight type person. Put the spotlight on me and I'll act, I'll sing, I'll do anything.
It's so funny because I heard before, like, are you playing like a role, like a character role in your life? And is it like being your full authentic self and stuff like that? Would you say that was kind of like what you were doing?
Oh yeah, I totally wasn't being that authentic. So how about yourself? What areas were you not loving yourself unconditionally and that you've gotten?
My hardest challenge, I would say, that I am slowly overcoming is that I noticed, because I'm a light worker and I'm also an empath, and what my husband's told me, that I attract people that need comfort or anything, but also I feel like it's my reflection too of the areas I'm lacking love for myself is people tend to just are very rude or just really like, I mean, I've had stories where people out of nowhere, or I'm going with my kids and they just like attack me or anything, or just, I mean, it could be like anyone in his family too that was showing me like hurt or just putting their hurt and pain on me rather than talking to me about it. And it was just like, I would just get really emotional and just hurt. And I knew that it was an area where I wasn't either putting loving boundaries for myself and also not observing the situation and just being like, okay, like instead of getting like frustrated or angry, what are areas that I need love in myself? And I noticed that like since I changed my words, like I'd bring the energy of love into my body. We could talk about words of energy and everything of another podcast, but also saying queen to myself, also that one helped me with my confidence, because I really had a lack of confidence in myself, and that's probably why I got jealous of my husband a lot, because I wasn't like loving my body or anything, because after having 4 kids, and going through, we're really young when we got married, so definitely like not taking care of myself or had the time to give myself love in that area. I just like, obviously I gained weight and stuff, but where I'm at now is that I love myself no matter what, and it doesn't matter like what people think. And if people do say something and stuff to me that aren't really loving, is that I still hold a love space for them, because that's what they needed the most, and not taking it personally. So that was really hard, because I actually would not go outside at all. Like I would seriously coop up. I wouldn't want to go use my gifts outside and serve people.
Very antisocial for a little bit.
Yes, I was really antisocial. I would like be very closed. My heart chakra was really closed. When I went to a shaman, he said my heart was really closed, and he said I have a really beautiful heart, that I could really connect with people and share my love with them. Actually, I've been told by 2 shamans of that, and I was like, what does that mean? But I understand now. I also was told that I had a disconnection with myself, and so I really, really worked really hard in those areas, so that I don't like get jealous or play a judgment card, and always open and loving. Gosh, this one's like really like personal, but I feel like it's good to always talk about this area, is sexuality. Definitely that was an area I'm still working on, that I didn't understand what to have like a love connection. I definitely used it
was kind of more like a tool for you in a sense, huh?
Yeah, so that area I wasn't shown love to, but yeah, so I think those are the areas. So like, for example, if I see like someone, I have a really hard time with this. I don't know if anyone has I try not to, sorry, I shouldn't say try. Okay. I tend to observe and be like, okay, what is this area like? Why am I not giving unconditional love to this person? But I think my hardest time is like when I'm on like, because I love Instagram, but if I see someone like posing nude or like posing like and their whatever and stuff, it's like, okay, what is this person's intention and why? And it's like some people are,
Yeah, like what's the energy that's involved with that?
yeah, because it's just like, I know there's some people out there that I know like this is like how I express myself, and how you see me is how you see yourself, and also how a lot of people have sexual trauma and stuff like that, and they come out and they're just like, look at me and stuff like that, like this is beautiful, your body's beautiful, and I'm just like, I know that it's okay to disagree with people and stuff, but I have a hard time because, you know, I have little girls. I think about that. Like, I have little girls, and it's just like, what examples are we showing them? Or, like, you know, I definitely want our girls and our boys to have a good experience.
So,
like, you know, with themselves, to love themselves and stuff like that. But,
so,
like,
so I hear what you're saying. So, what's your, with when it comes into having unconditional love, how do you have unconditional love for those types of people or individuals where you feel judgmental towards them? Because that's our topic, right? Is unconditional love.
Loving my body more, definitely loving my body, and being more open to like expressing, I guess, my sexuality. Obviously, just with my husband, obviously, but
No, with the cat down the road.
you know, that's disgusting. That's gross. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what are your perspectives on that? I mean, I don't know. This is like off topic. I don't know if we could talk about another podcast.
Yeah, we'll put that onto a different podcast because it's, you know, so in general with the unconditional love stuff, that not the stuff, but the unconditional love area and space in which we're talking, it's, you know, definitely a lot of the things that DJ talked about there is mainly on judgment, right? So what I believe in how we can start to be loving people more unconditionally is to check in with ourselves the moment that we begin to judge somebody else, or the moment that we begin to feel indifferent towards other individuals, or the moment that we begin to feel hate, you know, or anger. Because hate and anger are just, you know, a byproduct of our own insecurities. So it's definitely about checking in with yourself, looking in the mirror, seeing your reflection, especially seeing your reflection in that other person in which you're judging. Is it because they have better hair than you? Is it because they don't have as many imperfections? You know, because everything and all these things make you who you are 100%, and who you are is beautiful, and that is something to be grateful for.
Yeah, and so funny that you said that is that person. It's not about comparing. Definitely. Sorry if you guys hear my kids. They're probably waking up. But really quick is that, like, I've heard example of a woman coming into a room and she was beautiful and she's confident, and someone were just like not, just like kind of judging her and stuff like that. But it's just because she's showing light where they're not showing light within themselves, as in like if they're not confident within themselves. And it's just to, you know, because I've noticed that myself, as I get loving more for myself and confident, I don't really see those areas in other people, or I don't compare myself, because it's just like, what's the point? Like, you know, like I have like so many beautiful areas within myself, and so does everyone else, you know. Yeah. We're always here to bring
absolutely
something.
We all have individual gifts, you know. I'll speak in the sense of God, because I do believe in God.
So I was going to say something about that.
But you know, even that God made us in His image, if you know, read scriptures of the Bible. But the thing that's so great is that we're not identical. There's not one piece, not one part of our DNA that's absolutely identical or the same. So we, because we are so different in so many ways, but still the same, because we are all brothers and sisters of this world, we're all a collective spirit, in a sense, that we came down here for a specific journey, a specific path. in which we accepted and said, absolutely, I'm going to live through this. I'm going to enter this body or this vessel, and I'm going to provide this service to the world. And the way that we can provide this service is by having unconditional love for ourselves, especially looking into the mirror and just seeing how perfect we are for who we are.
Yeah, so that balance, perfect of loving our imperfections too.
Exactly.
The yin yang, the sun and...
Yep. I believe in being weird. I'll tell you that right now. So if you're weird, live it up. So just to finish this up, because all of our monkeys are starting to wake up. We do this podcast early in the morning so we could get it through and take care of business and our 4 wild animals. And, hope that you pulled something, not hope, but I see that you guys are growing and you guys are all learning to love yourselves more unconditionally and progressing in this world, in this universe, and to remember and know that we all have God within us all. And the more that we can see God within each and every one of us and see it in other people, other living things, that it will be that much easier. And I know that you will see and be less judgmental upon yourself. And you will grow so strongly and love yourself so unconditionally that you'll be a power and a force that will grow so strongly in this world to provide service.
Yes, and I love you too, and we'll send it that way because that was beautiful.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you for joining us on the Journey Inside podcast. Bye.